Hello and welcome to another insightful episode of Expert Matters. This is the podcast where we explore the journeys of professionals who have been shaping the future of the industries. I'm your host Shruti Bora, and today we have a guest whose career blends clinical excellence, strategic leadership, and a deep commitment to improving patient outcomes. Joining us today is Dr. Praveen Rathsar. He's the head of global medical affairs at Biocon Biologics. With over 15 years of experience in medical affairs and healthcare strategy, he has led major initiatives in diabetes, immunology, and beyond. So, whether you're a medical student, a healthcare professional, or if you are simply curious about the world behind medical innovations, this conversation is going to be both insightful and inspiring. Let's dive in with the questions. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It's a great privilege to have you with.
Thanks to the really pride that me being part of this expert matters series, and I really appreciate the way that you're taking it up, and looking forward for the discussions. Shruti, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, my first question to you would be what led you choose a path in medical affairs, after your MD in pharmacology?
Yeah, thanks, Shruti. Thank you very much for asking this. Shruti, you know that I strongly believe in the medical affairs. The role is a strategic, dynamic, and it's actually a fulfilling decision for me in the medical affairs, especially if you are passionate about science, communication, and making the real world impact on the patient care perspective. Let me put a few perspectives of the medical affairs. What made me to choose is it actually helps in bridging the science and strategy. The medical affairs, the team plays a very uh, passionate role in translating the complex clinical trial data into actionable insights, which could be easily understood by the healthcare professionals, the regulators, and the internal teams. You get to stay close to the science while influencing the business and the patient outcomes. The other point which I also wanted to put is that the patient-centric impact, that's the core when you choose a medical profession, right? So this profession particularly plays a key role in ensuring the therapies are safe, they are effective in the real world. This means like how do you the work you do contribute to the patient's betterness, the health outcomes. So that's something the core, the medical play a critical role. It also gives a diverse, what you say, career opportunities, starting from the medical affairs till the to the medical director, and also your other cross-functional team collaboration. It enables you for the continuous learning. Medical affairs role is something which enables you for the continuous learning, and it makes you to stay updated in the latest scientific research. You attend the conference, get the knowledge, you engage the thought leaders, and that's many things. So that's something which really made me to take this medical affairs journey. I would, if I wanted to use one word to describe this particular profession, is it's dynamic. Yeah.
That was a very holistic answer, sir, that helps with all the aspects of why should you choose this career, and how does it, how do you start, and how does the career trajectory looks like. So thank you so much. And my next question is totally about how your role has evolved from principal investigator to a leading global medical affairs now at one of the leading firms, Biocon Biologics.
Thanks. So when I finished my post graduation, so it is all the clinical trials. So immediately I jumped into the clinical trials, which was quite interesting for me. Then slowly I made a shift to medical affairs. It's sometimes very natural, and then it's a very strategic career move for many professionals in the industry or the life science industry where I have seen. For me, if we really say that it is highly fascinating, and I truly enjoyed this shift. I really thank the Almighty for all His blessings, what I have received so far. If I could just deep dive into this, when I had shifted into the medical affairs, I need to start from the scratch. Initially, as a medical affairs professional, as an individual contributor role, then I became the medical affairs manager, and then moved into Abbott in Mumbai, and then I need to add one of the largest what you say the therapy area, that is diabetes, to manage the medical affairs team in both office and also in the field-based medical affairs team. Later, I moved back to Biocon Biologics in Bangalore. Now I head the medical affairs globally. If I could really name a few people, if I could glance through few people in my
Definitely.
career, is something Dr. Naba Talukdar, Mr. Arun Sharma, Dr. Balagopalan Nair, Mr. Sushil Umesh, Dr. Viraj Suvarna, Dr. Sandeep Patale, Dr. Rahul Kapoor, and Dr. Uwe. So they all guided. It helps my, as I told you, it helps my journey very fascinating with all the guidance support. That really made my job much easier.
That
That's
sounds
the
amazing. That's an amazing journey. Can you also share how you have approached the launch of, new products from a medical affairs perspective?
yeah. So from the medical affairs perspective, like every product launch is quite interesting. It will make you learn many things during the course. I would like to put one example here is in my early start of my career in Biocon, I would have launched around almost 8 to 10 products within a span of 2 years. It's so tremendous, so tedious, too much of learnings, and it gives different perspective. It's not something like a cookie cutter. You learn not many things. If I could just give you a small brief about the launch of new products. Typically, you have something called as a pre-launch phase, which is defined anywhere between 12 to 24 months before the launch time, where you do, as a medical affairs professional, you do what is the scientific landscape, how do you assess, what are the unmet needs that actually been part of this, what is the competition doing, and what is the updated guideline that is coming up. And then we also see the KOL engagement. You need to identify, build. Possibly, if you have some time, then we can speak about the KOL engagement in the due course of time. And then the real world evidence. And then what is the strategy that the medical office is developing in aligned to the commercial and the regulatory teams?
Definitely, sir. If you would like to share an insight and a holistic approach, how do you follow that? We'll be happy to, understand it.
Great. Thanks, Shruti. Thanks. So KOL is something which, if you really see that one of the cornerstone of the medical affairs professional, when the moment when I say it, it is like how do you identify the right KOLs? What is their understanding? What is their interest? Some of them are more academic. Some of them are generating real world evidence. And then how do you engage in a scientific discussion dialogues? And you became their trusted scientific partner, and from there you start leveraging the conferences and connecting with them, networking with them, and use the various digital tools very thoughtfully, and that's how you maintain and nurture the relationship. End of the day, this particular the KOL opinion leaders networking or the relationship really helpful in terms of what you say, how do you shape up the practice with the peer influence, and how do you shape the policy for a better outcome in the patients. It will make a really lot of difference. That's one of the critical piece, especially when you have this KOL connect. How do you engage the KOLs in the therapy areas?
Got it. Understood. So would you also like us to, give us a brief about how does the launch process of all these products look like? Because we'll have an overview to understand. And also it would be very helpful for all the medical students who are watching this.
Great. Yeah. So So I spoke to you something about the pre-launch phase, which is anywhere between 12 months to 24 months before the launch time. Launch preparation is something, is something the moment you nearing to the launch, anywhere between 6 months to almost the time of launch. So you develop a communication plan. What are the core medical message? How does it resonate to the practicing physicians? What are the evidence coming up? How do you structure the publications? How do you participate in congresses in disseminating the informations? And you want to set up a medical information system, and you generate some advisory board meets, whether to gather insights from the HCPs, which could refine the strategy what you have designed or developed so far. As you move further closer, you move into a launch phase, which is the time of launch to the next 6 months or 8 months or 1 year, depending upon the product, where you are more focused onto the execution. Like now, how many medical team members are required? How do you engage the KOLs? How do you engage the healthcare professionals? How do you do the medical educational programs in terms of disseminating the science, in terms of symposia, webinars, roundtables, and how do you do the publication in disseminating the information for the physicians for a better what you say practice or improve their outcomes, and how do you respond to the medical queries, because so far with the study as whatever the data has been accumulated is all done from the controlled clinical trial. Once it is out into the real world, what are the queries coming up from the HCPs, from the patients, from the caregivers? So all that comes into execution focus. And then the last bit is after you launch, after 26 months done, 24 months done. So it is all moving into something called as how do you extend the life cycle of the product in terms of generating new data, real world evidences. And if you really see this entire stretch, like the new launch, you'll have key metrics in terms of the interactions, in terms of publications, in terms of reach, in terms of workshop, in terms of CME. So that gives that entire holistic perspective, how from the medical affairs side, how effective a launch could be. So possibly I'll stop here if you want to further dwell on this.
That's a beautiful explanation, sir. Thank you so much. We got the overview of, pre-launch phase and how does the product launch, and after, of course, post-launch phase. So, you have covered all the approaches, all the engagement, and, matrices as well. So that gives a detailed orientation. My next question is going to be about your work in therapy areas. You worked across various therapy areas. How do you stay updated and scientifically agile?
Yeah, that's a bit tough question, I would say, but I really mean that. Uh, so it is not easy for anyone to keep themselves updated in the busy work, especially where you need to be scientifically agile, and you need to be up to date, which is one of the demanding piece in the medical affairs domain. So when you are scientifically agile and keep yourself updated, that actually what you say commands you into a credible source of information, and your decision is more of evidence based, and that gives a lot of strategic value to the actionables what you drive and what you deliver. During my initial phase of my career, right? So when I was in Mumbai, so I reach office bit early by around 8:15 or so. Then my team members would come by around 9:05, 9:10. So I have a solid 45 minutes which I would use to read something about the new trials, new informations, to guidelines. And the other thing what I do is that how do I structure my day? So in that the 30 to 45 minutes what I used to spend every day gave me a solid foundation, and then to stand in terms of how one can be scientifically sound. And then that really makes a huge difference as you cultivate that habits in your day-to-day life. And I would really say thanks to the digital nowadays, that makes the whole life easier. You are on the move, but you could able to glance at some quick informations, and then you could able to recap couple of things in your short span of time. But now, as you move up in the career, that the interactions that what you make with the peers, with the team, with the superiors, with the management, with the cross-functional teams, all that is something which you piece of information, what you get or what you learn, that cows out the entire piece of to be scientifically up to date is something which I would like to put it across.
Definitely, sir. It's very important nowadays to have right mentors and right people to guide you, especially when you're a student. Because this episode and this entire interview is focused for the students who are looking to move ahead in their career. What kind of career paths are available for students, especially, medical science students and pharmacology students?
So this is something which I am very keen, and I would like to emphasize few things here. When you come out from the medical school, or you finish your pharmacology, or when you wanted to move into a non-clinical career path, the option are quite huge, and it is like, if I could name a few, you can move into the academic path where you can be into the lecturer, professors, unit aides, HODs. That's something which is very, what you say, a very noble or honorable way of driving the teachings to the students. The other could be more into the industry, like you could be a drug discovery scientist. You could be also a preclinical researcher, like in terms of studying the drug effects in vivo or in vitro before the clinical trials coming in. Then the clinical pharmacologist supporting the clinical trial design, the PKPD data. Then the medical affairs professional, as I spoke about, what is the clinical data coming in? How do we disseminate that to the healthcare professionals? Then the regulatory affairs, the pharmacovigilance is amazing. It's coming up in terms of the monitoring the drug safety and adverse events, and how do you make a meaningful outcome of it? And then therapeutic drug monitoring specialist. So this is all from the industry perspective. If I could move a step out of this, possibly the government or the regulatory bodies, there could be regulatory scientists working with the regulators like CDSCO in India, FDA, EMA. That's something on the regulatory landscape. There could be something like which the recently what I have seen is more into the specialized the emerging field, like pharmaco genomic expert or AI in drug discovery. All these things are like something making a huge difference in the landscape of the careers to the medical students who can opt for a non-clinical. The last bit is the entrepreneurship journey, which I have seen my seniors, or my peers, my some of my students taking it up and being successful in that journey. I really appreciate if you have that kind of what you say, a right thought, and then which could really make a meaningful difference in the current system, that you could able to reduce the gap. Then the entrepreneurship journey is something highly fascinating which you could able to take this up. That's These are the various options what comes into my mind currently. Yeah.
Brilliantly explained, sir. What are the core skills or certifications when students should consider before entering to, any kind of role which you have just discussed?
Yeah, but okay, let me put something like this. It depends on the person how they are willing to take a specific path, like what we so far discussed. There are multiple avenues for this. If I could give you an example here, for example, a scientific and a technical skill is required. If someone is going to opt for a drug discovery scientist, if you have a passion to teach, then academics is a wonderful option that someone can take. If I could really glance through some of my teachers, Dr. Kumar, Dr. Sarala, Dr. Nagesh, Dr. Padma, Dr. Nalini, they made what you say, they have this huge passion of for teaching, and their vision in driving the change in the student's mind is with the with the constant support, encouragement, really makes a huge difference in the students' mind in good upbringing, guiding them, mentoring them. So that's something really makes a lot of difference. Getting to the point to what you had asked, especially in early part of the career, I don't think so. You need to do some certification to join. But as you move up in the career, I think so. You need to do some kind of certifications in terms of the soft skills like PowerPoint presentation, how do you communicate, how do you boldly speak, and then as you move further up in terms of how do you manage the team, how do you diffuse and conflict, this all makes a difference as you move up in the career. And there are a lot of courses which is available. Google has some, LinkedIn, if you go, there are a lot of courses. Some of them are paid, some of them are free, so you can take and then get the benefit out of it. That's some of the few things which we can guide to the students.
That really helps to understand, what to focus on and what not to. And of
Yeah.
course, as we have, emphasized on what kind of teachers and mentors you should have in your journey, that really helps to bring a change in a student's life. It creates their career and it brings you, to a level which they have not even planned in the beginning. So when we talk about especially, non-traditional and non-economic, let's just we have just discussed about academic career paths. When we talk about specific medical affairs, team as a career path, when a student needs to enter and who pursues to enter into a medical affairs team, does he or she needs to have a prior research experience to join them?
No, not really. Having a prior research experience is a strong asset when you transition from into a medical affairs role. But as
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned, it is not always mandatory. It is not necessary. It is not something with that only you can come into medical affairs.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, yes, as I told you, having a prior research experience, it helps with the interpreting the clinical trial data, and then how do you make it simplifying it to the healthcare professionals, to the policymakers, and then making it a better outcome. That's something from the research background, but otherwise it is not. But it goes as an added advantage when you have that.
Definitely. And, just to give a background to all the students who are trying to enter into medical affairs industry, what does a typical day, or maybe how does the career trajectory looks like in the industry, and how does the student help to stimulate that experience to a level where they can excel in this industry?
Great question. I really appreciate that asking. So when I walked in, we never had how does the industry experience is all about. So it was something about what you say. Uh, I think I'm getting some echo, Shruti.
Is it better, sir?
Yeah, you would like to go with the question again? I got some twice an echo. Yeah.
No problem. So this was the question where we focused, just to give us a background to all the students who are trying to move into medical affairs team. How does the typical day in a life of a medical affairs student looks like, and how does the student, emphasize to stimulate that experience so that they, prosper and excel in that industry?
Thanks, Shruti. That's a very great question. Thanks for asking that. When I moved into the medical affairs profession, there was a bit of gap that was existing. I don't know what do the medical affairs do, and knowing that what we try doing is in my initial stint in biocon biologics, we did open up to some of the MD students to come and join us as interns. We have trained around 6 or 7 students. What is the various role in the industry can be, especially from the medical affairs perspective. What do we do? They'll be with us for almost 2 to 4 months, and then we tell them what we do in terms of the launch, in terms of communication, in terms of what are the cross-functional teams we interact with. So that's something, as I told you, there's a bit of gap in the academic life to the corporate industry, especially when someone is jumping into the medical affairs professional from the medical school or medical college. So the couple of recommendations were some time back when we were around. So we made, as I told you, a short tenure industry would really bridge that gap and then give a good perspective for a student who could like to pursue the career in a medical affairs. That helps a lot. I've seen many people who have changed the course of direction after coming in, and many people have taken this medical affairs profession after they come into the internship programs. Yeah.
So digitalization has definitely helped us to understand, the industry. How does it look like before entering into it? So students nowadays are pretty conscious and they understand each and every core movement of how does their role would look like in, what kind of things they do now would shape their career in next 2 to 3 years. So they're pretty aware about it. But one question that pops in all the medical students, mind is how does one build networks with KOLs or scientific associations early in their career?
Yeah, I think so. We touch base this particular point sometime before. As I told you, building a strong KOL network is a cornerstone in the professional, because that the key opinion leaders are influential. That is why they're called as KOLs.
Mhm.
And sometimes they also have a research background whose opinion matters in terms of the clinical practice and then policy makers. And then now the second half of the question, if you could answer, what makes them to network? Obviously, is when you interact with them, the insights what gets generated during the course of discussion, you can implement in the strategy, and then you can develop or design a strategy to get this insight and then address it, the address unmet need what they are actually or in the system that has been existing. So that's something which is, as I told you, which is very pivotal, the key role where the medical affairs will play a role. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. That was all the answers you just shared today. There was a very holistic approach to them. It made us understand, even as a beginner, even somebody who's not from a medical industry, I could understand each and every single word you just spoke. So I think, listening to your journey from your early clinical roles to now you're working with a global medical affairs team at one of the most respected healthcare companies, it seems very inspiring. Your experience gave us a window into the real world impact of medical strategy and the path students can take to enter this exciting space. And what truly stood out for me was the clarity, humility, and dedication you have to shaping accessible healthcare solutions in the industry. That was an amazing, session, sir. I personally loved interviewing you today. That was a very, very interesting conversation. Before, we close the session, I have one last question for you. Do you have any piece of advice for the students who are very unsure whether to pursue a clinical or corporate medical path?
Yeah, that's great. Again, thanks. The advice is something like when we go and speak with to the medical schools or speak with some of our students. So we see that there, as I told you, there's a bit of gap that comes in, and choosing a life for the career between a clinical and a corporate medical path in terms of whether you opt for a medical affairs or regulatory or pharmacovigilance or clinical development. This will shape up as you move forward. The point which I wanted to emphasize or to wanted to give an advice is, I think so we might which we do, but yes, the point which I want to emphasize is discuss or have a chat with your teachers, guide, your mentors, your seniors, or somebody whom you know them well in the industry, or your well wishers. So when you have this kind of interaction with the multiple stakeholders, so what I believe is that sometimes you may not know the strength, but when you have this kind of conversation with the different stakeholders, that helps you to identify the strength or the power in you, which could really fuel the growth, both in the personal and also in the professional journey. And the last bit I would like to put it across, and I would hand it back to over to you is, when you do a lot of self-reflection, feedback from others, and then you assess yourself, try something new things, You put everything in your matrix. It is easier said and done, whatever the pointers, whatever that I spoke. But when you do this, it gives a lot of clarity for what you wanted to drive and what you want to deliver in the career. But yes, you may not do everything systematically. If you're doing it well and good, but all these things will come up in the due course of time in your journey when you're smart enough to pick this up and then start implementing, and that gives you a huge what you say trajectory to your career. That's something which I thought I will put across right away.
Definitely, I'm sure that many of our listeners and viewers are going to walk away with both guidance and motivation to explore this field more deeply now. Thank you so much again, sir, for taking time to, share your wisdom and story with us. It's been a true privilege, especially for me. And I hope to keep in touch and explore many more such sessions in future with you.
Thanks, Shruti. Thank you very much. And I really thank to ISBR, and thanks to you again for connecting with me and driving this. Look forward if you need anything from our side or from my side in terms of how do we guide or help the students for the career or the future perspective. I'm there, or what are the best possible that we could able to help them out.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much again for doing this.
Thanks, Shruti. Have a good time. See you. Bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you.